The impact of the Israeli aggression on the workforce in the Palestinian labor market in the Gaza Strip 2021. The Ministry of Labor is following with great concern the severe damage suffered by the economic sector in the Gaza Strip as a direct result of the Israeli aggression, which began since 10th of May 2021 and whose destructive effects have not ended until the time of issuing this statement. The Ministry of Labor also calls for the necessity of urgent intervention in order to save the economic sectors from the catastrophic effects in all levels, which not affected the buildings, but also extended to the Palestinian worker, his safety and his future, not only harming his right to work, but also the guarantees of providing a decent life for the Palestinian trapped in the Gaza Strip, which suffers mainly from bad humanitarian and economic conditions and increasing unemployment rates due to the Israeli blockades and the economic crisis resulting from COVID-19, which increased the unemployment rate and deprived thousands of graduates and workers of job opportunities. From the first moment of the aggression, the Ministry of Labor sought to document and record all the damage inflicted on Palestinian economic institutions, despite the great damage caused to the ministry as a result of targeting its buildings, in order to build a rapid intervention plan through which the ministry seeks to remedy the heavy effects that are difficult to address in the short term, but in a way that can reduce the aggravation and collapse of the economic and humanitarian conditions. The facts that preceded the attack: the number of workers in the private sector in the first quarter of 2021 in the Gaza Strip reached 153,850 workers. The number of active establishments in the labor market in the first quarter of 2021 exceeded to 51,573, of which 38% operate in Gaza City. The initial survey, which prepared by the Ministry of Labor, showed that the number of workers affected by the destruction of active establishments exceeded to 19,766 workers directly or indirectly affected. The total number of workers of the totally damaged facilities exceeded to 5,012 workers who completely lost their jobs. 55% of the affected workers are concentrated in the Gaza Governorate. 57 of the damaged establishments are small establishments where the number of employees doesn't exceed 5 people. Workers in the affected establishment in the agriculture and industrial sectors represent the largest proportion of those affected by 57% of the affected workers. The establishment damage in general exceeded 14 of the total number of operating establishments in the entire Gaza Strip. These statistics represent the direct damage and losses to the business sector, and the indirect losses may multiply the figures mentioned in the report several times. Therefore, and according to the mentions above, and in terms of our competence and responsibilities, we demand for the following urgent measures to be taken. First, lifting the imposed blockade for 50 years ago and prosecute the occupation for its direct violation against Palestinian workers and economic facilities. Second, calling on international institutions, specifically the International Labour Organization, to start the preparation phase in providing urgent financial aid and emergency relief to the affected workers to ensure the minimum level of their humanitarian needs. Third, reintegration and rehabilitation of the affected workers in the labor market through cash for work programs. Fourth, the Palestinian workforce must be the main implementer in the reconstruction plan. Fifth, providing the necessary logistical support to the ministry to enable it to implement its emergency plan to overcome the current crisis. Sixth, reconstruction plans must give priority and attention to the affected workers and compensating them for the damage they suffered. Seventh, allocating funds to establish safe and decent industrial zones to ensure job opportunities and sustainable development as an essential part of the reconstruction plan. Finally, the Ministry is discussing with partners and concerned authorities the formation of a fund to support the affected workers and to provide a continuous source of funding by allocate 5% of the amount of fundings as a source of employment in the market. Thank you.